Here to react, Michael Knowles, host of The Michael Knowles Show. Good morning. It's such a treat. Normally we see you out in Los Angeles. We're waking up at 2, 3 in the morning. Good to have you here on set. This is a very serious story. We cannot possibly minimize. I know these bombs didn't go off. It still terrorized people. But the idea that Democrats are immediately saying that because they don't like the president's rhetoric, somehow he has incited, is one of the words they've used. He's incited violence.
That's right. They actually were blaming him before they ever caught the guy, before they saw any motivation. CNN was referring to the Trump targets as though President Trump were mailing these packages himself. This is the double standard. When a Bernie bro shoots up a congressional baseball game, they don't talk about the Sanders shooter. But when someone targets Democrats, it's President Trump's fault. The reason for this is that when a left-wing lunatic commits an act of violence, it is considered an aberration. When a right-wing lunatic does it, it is representative of the whole group.
I'll give you a great example, which is I noticed a story on NewYorkTimes.com last night that was saying before he was a suspect, they said this guy, the suspect Caesar, was a Trump superfan. Back in 2017, when there was an assassination attempt on Steve Scalise, you mentioned, and other Republican lawmakers at the baseball practice, I don't remember a whole series of stories saying that the shooter, the shooter who ultimately died himself was a Bernie bro, as you say, or was a Bernie superfan.
That's right.
People just separated it out and said, he was a crazy Bernie Sanders fan, but they didn't blame Bernie Sanders.
That's right, and he volunteered for the campaign. But when it comes to Trump, either way it happens, whether it's violence on the left or the right, they blame Trump. When it's on the left, they blame him for inciting it, and when it's left-wingers attacking right-wingers, they blame him for provoking it, like he had it coming. The only thing that we can focus on here, I think, the only a tangible aspect of this is how the elected leaders respond. And when the mainstream left is committing mob violence in the street, how do the Democrats respond? They encourage it, all the way up to Hillary Clinton. When it's the right, what does President Trump do? He says in the harshest possible terms, this is unacceptable, we'll prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law.
What about the fact that as soon as these bombs emerged several days ago, Hillary Clinton said down in Florida around a campaign event, we've got to bring civility back to this debate. About a week or so after she said, we should not be civil. That's what she said only a week or two ago. Let's not be civil because we don't like Donald Trump.
Well, being a left-winger means never having to say you're sorry. This is especially true of the Clintons. They're trying to flip their rhetoric now after weeks and weeks of calling for explicit violence from the mainstream of their supporters. Restaurants where Republicans' children sleep. Certainly this isn't on the right, and I think voters will acknowledge this. They'll see that reaction.
To your point, Maxine Waters is also saying in the last 24 hours that the president is encouraging violence, okay? Isn't she the person who said the cabinet secretary shouldn't be able to sleep? They shouldn't be able to have a meal in a restaurant. Again, they're being hypocritical.
That's exactly right. But the media have been spinning this narrative since long before they identified this guy. He clearly was a loner. He's got a long criminal history. He's a total lunatic. We acknowledge that, but what the left has to grapple with is the mainstream of their supporters who are going out in the street.
We've called out that hypocrisy, but on the other hand, doesn't the president, as the president of the United States, have an opportunity here to try and elevate the debate and say, okay, you guys have called me a Nazi and a racist. I'm not happy about that, and he shouldn't be happy about it. But does he need a sentence after saying, let's all come together? Does he really need to go after fake news in the next sentence?
Well, I think he has to challenge this media narrative that's been building for a long time. But it is true. Nixon can go to China. President Trump can say, the king of this rhetoric, he can say, we are going to be better than this. We are going to show the way and lead the way. I think he's already doing that. But we can't unilaterally disarm on the media.
Right. But you're saying Nixon can go to China, Trump can go to fake news.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Michael Knowles, great to see you in person.
Nice to see you.
All right.